Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pail, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure.
Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I quote it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
You laughing at?
Sam. I know everybody's
matter.
I know everybody's in a bad mood. Welcome to the Garden Report.
Yeah.
I know everybody's bummed out and is ready to boomer rage their way through the next hour or so. But Jimmy and I, just to lift our spirits, just watched the Bobby video.
Yeah, we came on here so upset. John just like, here, this will help. It helps. So maybe in the middle of our show, if we're going off the rails, we'll just play. We'll just play the hits.
We used to have the calm read. Now we've got Bobby playing basketball.
So much better the second time. It's like
so much better the second time.
It's like the episode of I Think You Should Leave. Like you gotta watch it like 2 or 3 more times to really appreciate it.
Oh man, people are angry right now. I'm not angry.
Let the room fill up let the room fill up for a second. You're not angry? You're not angry yet.
Not yet, but you know how I get.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I'll get there.
It's Friday. It's Friday. You know, we've all had a long week.
I'll use this one. I'm gonna use this comment right here. You know, not angry, disappointed. I actually while I was watching the Celtics like brick all of these threes and stop attacking the basket and like watching Jokic and Murray hit everything and guys getting cooked.
They got them down.
I actually still thought they were gonna pull it out. I really did. I thought Tatum would have like 2 heroic moments late, and I actually thought the back-to-back there where Tatum had the floater in the lane, which was a tough shot.
That was one good shot that he took tonight.
And then White gets it into Brown in the post, and he just bullies his way there.
That was like
I'm like, here we go. Now they're gonna work for some baskets.
Brown had Murray. Yeah. I was ready to just like zone in on that play and say that summed up the game if they won. But instead, you had like Tatum discombobulate. I don't know what happened to that guy in the last few minutes of the game. It was like he was never walked before. I don't know what happened. I mean, the shot selection tonight was poor. Go on, finish it.
You know what it was? With these, Jimmy, it always comes back to not like Tatum had a bad game, I'm so mad. Brown had a bad game, I'm so mad. Guys are gonna have off shooting nights. It's the old habits creeping in that always freaks everybody out, which you don't like to see, and that's shot chucking, over reliance on threes, stop not attacking the basketball, standing around. It was weird because they had sequences where they have 8 offensive rebounds and others where they would just be standing around and let Denver grab an offensive rebound on their end.
Oh my God, that was so frustrating.
And then point Tatum, the too much, the walking it up, and I all of that stuff. Credit to Joe. Joe watched them.
That when Holiday was on the bench.
Yeah, Joe watched them twice, like setting up. He's like, "This is terrible. What are we doing?" Just no semblance of offense. Just kind of trying to get it to somebody and get out of the way. But I'm not like going to overreact or freak out at all. This isn't a freak out game. It was just annoying. It was just an annoying game. Tatum was either foul hunting or shot chucking. We're just, I thought we were past that, and I don't, it's frustrating.
That's why, I mean, you can be angry and not freak out. I think we can try to find some middle ground.
I'm not even angry.
I'm a little angry, and I'll tell you why.
Are you? All right, go ahead.
Because these are the games that you want them to win, John. I don't care if they blow out the Raptors. I don't give a shit. Sorry. I care about the big ones. I care about the Nuggets. I care about the Timberwolves. I care about, whatever, the Bucks. I care about those games. I care about the teams that theoretically the Celtics should see when it matters the most. And so you want them to pull it off. They're at home. They have an undefeated record at home. I wanted them to go 41-0 at home this year, and I thought that was a realistic expectation at the way that they started. So I am annoyed. I am frustrated. I'm not freaking out. Everybody can just chill. I'm not saying pressing the panic button. But if you're a Celtics fan and you're not annoyed and you're not angry that a team that you're supposed to be better than came into your building and beat you, then I don't know what to tell you. You're in denial, or you're just like, everything's just rainbows and butterflies, I guess. You're one of those people that, like, I can't stand to be around because everything's just always like the best ever. Like, I don't want.
Shut up, Jimmy. Look at their record.
I like that about you, but I need to be able to be mad at things that matter. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm a little frustrated. And again, it's a little bit of what you said, John. It's the way they lost. They didn't have to lose this game. They didn't. They fell into some of those old bad habits. They missed so many shots. And yeah, some of them were open, and you got to just shake your head and say it would have went in on another night. But I thought some of them were forced. I thought step back fadeaways that occurred didn't need to occur. And I'm talking about Tatum and I'm talking about Brown.
But you know
Those
what?
guys combined 1 for 17 from 3, John. Yeah, you can just, again, oh, whatever, it's one game. But that just can't happen. It can't happen. I know Denver's a great team. They play strong defensively. They force the Celtics into some tough shots. But you have to figure out a way to score easier and get to the hoop. I know they're going to say, oh, they weren't getting the calls tonight. They were frustrated, whatever. The last shot selections, some of the shot selections that they had in the last, let's call it 5 minutes of that game, I hated. I absolutely hated. So that's where my frustration lies. It's not, I'm not saying that they didn't try or that it wasn't an entertaining game. It was a great game. It was a back and forth. Celtics went on their runs. Nuggets went on their runs. But when it came down to it in crunch time, everything, we all knew what was going to happen, and it happened. They were going to force the ball to Tatum, and he was going to take a contested shot. Exactly that happened. And his shot was even worse than I thought it was going to be. Really. And again, credit for Missoula for taking the timeout. I thought if he was going to take a timeout, he took it too late. The play beforehand had been broken up probably 4 or 5 seconds prior to that timeout being taken. And they only had, like, I think less than 5 seconds to get their final playoff. So they didn't really have an opportunity to move the ball around once they inbounded. It was just going to go to Tatum, and whatever happened, happened. But Denver knew that was going to be the case too. They were prepared for it, and they defended it, and they won the game because of it. So I'm frustrated.
Some capital B bricks, in this one, including that last shot by Tatum. Oh my God. Denver, rough.
Had some ugly ones on their end. You can't let them off the hook completely either, but they're two dogs.
Yeah. And
Jokic
this wasn't
and Murray, they got the final say. Sherrod's here.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh,
but he wasn't for a second. He was, and then he wasn't.
I just noticed. That's all.
All right, just chill
my guy.
out. Jeez Louise.
This is my guy.
There it is. See what happens?
Okay, now
he's having technical difficulties. Yeah.
But yeah, don't get me started on point Tatum and point Brown and point this guy and point this guy. You have two great guards that can play point on your team. They should be in the game. And I know they went big. Celtics went big because they thought that was more effective having Allen there. But then they went back to Holiday late in the game. So I don't know. I agree though. Those guys. I mean, White was hot tonight, but he bricked one bad from the corner, wide open, too. And that was off after. Was that the same play sequence that Brown missed both free throws? Porzingis gets the offensive rebound, and then they miss again. So many misses in this one. I mean, the missed free throws by Brown. How many times are
a lot of hero ball?
Free throws.
A lot of hero ball. It was all night long. It was happening throughout that sequence where they had like 6 offensive rebounds. The final shot ended up being Tatum with a pull-up 3 from 30 feet. Like, there's just too much of that. Just too much of like, let me. The Celtics had opportunities to take this game, put it into double digits, and then run away, and they didn't. Just bad shot selection most of the night, I thought. I mean, I'll say this also. Caldwell-Pope is, an all-defensive candidate for sure on Denver. And he did a pretty damn good job on Tatum when he was matched up against him, and he's the one who forced him into that tough shot there. And that happens. And when that does happen, you see, Tatum has to fight for it, even where he does get where he wants to go. The shot and the degree of difficulty is a little bit higher than you want it to be. It was just kind of one of those nights. And when he knows that's happening, I think that's when he settles into those.
Well, that's it.
Let me see if the step backs work.
It felt like
it's hard
3 or
to do
4
the other
years
stuff.
ago.
Because he did have a couple. He had a couple drives. He shook Gordon, obviously, for that big jam.
He did. It wasn't that he wasn't trying. I just think there are certain times he didn't feel like it was there, and he was hoping the pull up would be, and it wasn't really at any point in the night. He didn't have it going all night. Not only didn't have it going, I mean, these are just horrible bricks, all night long. So he was really, really off on those shots, and he just tried to shoot his way out.
Are they playing on like a boat tonight? I felt like the shots were outrageously off in half of this game.
Yeah, everything was offline. But Sherrod, how are you mad or disappointed?
Both. But if I had to put my ship in one of or put my boat on one side or the other, disappointed is more. Just because I thought there were opportunities for them to.
Yeah,
they could have had this game. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I thought late game, not just late game execution, but late game decision making. I mean, they took some really bad shots when you look at score, time, and potential impact. And John, you guys have known I've been feeling this way for a long time, and I haven't tried to least bit hide the fact that I think Derek White needs to be the guy to go to down the stretch.
He's got to have the ball in his hands.
And having the ball in his hands does not mean throwing the damn ball inbounds. No, he needs to actually be on the floor as one of the potential recipients of the ball. Either him or Porzingis. They have shown, even if you are, Mr. Analytics and you look at the numbers, Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis are their best players in clutch moments. They've been that way all season. I'm sick and tired of seeing them screw this up. When you look at the games, they've had games that have gone to overtime when they probably could have won them if they would have gone with the guys who consistently get the job done down the stretch in clutch moments. And that's no shade on Jayson Tatum. It's just that you play with two guys who are better at that particular aspect of the game than you are.
Yeah,
that's not a diss. That's hardcore facts. Derek White down the stretch, he's better than you. Kristaps Porzingis down the stretch, close games, he's better than you.
Porzingis didn't shoot enough tonight. I mean, I know he had Jokic on him, and that was obviously at times difficult. But Sherrod, when the shots aren't falling for Tatum and Brown like they weren't tonight, again, 1 of 17 combined from 3. I don't know why we're all dead set on forcing the ball to them in those situations. We've talked about this last week. We've talked about it in past shows, but specifically, I think it was last week we had mentioned it, and you had brought up the Derek White point at that point in time where you no longer have to go to these guys.
Right.
You have other options out there. I will say Derek White did miss a wide open corner 3 that should have went down.
Remember when Kristaps Porzingis started the night scoring the first 11 points?
Yes, exactly.
Then what?
And he's still involved, but it's like
he became Casper the Friendly Ghost after the first quarter.
It's almost
where the hell did he go?
Then what happened? He had 17 points, and then he had nothing. I mean,
because it feels like he needs to be the recipient of like a hockey assist in order to get a shot off. Because sometimes it gets in that situation where it's just Tatum and Brown. Even again when their shots are so god awful, where it looks like they're playing on like the end of a cruise ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
I thought Kristaps was a little too selfless after the first quarter because there were moments where they would get him the ball in the middle of the paint with a guy that's 6'7", 6'8" on him, and he'd look around where, who am I going to pass to? Here's a clue. Don't. Just shoot the damn ball over the little guy on you. There were so many moments where they sometimes struggle with when to be assertive, aggressive, and when to just look for your teammates. Kristaps, I thought after the first quarter was that way. He didn't want to be a ball hog, which again, there's a lot of positives about that. But when you're running your offense and you're winding up with KCP or Aaron Gordon, someone who's significantly shorter than you by like 4, 5, 6 inches, shoot over them, particularly if you're in a spot where you can make that shot. It was disappointing. And John, damn it, you're starting to trigger me to be pissed off. I wanted to stay in the disappointed lane, but the more I'm thinking about, I'm starting to get a little pissed.
You're on my side, Sherrod.
Oh God, not on the.
It's not where you want to be.
It's not.
No, but Sherrod, my take is this: I think you can be angry about this game and not freak out and hit the panic button and all this stuff. But I think you should be upset if you're a Celtics fan. And this was a game again, Sherrod. I go back to the fact that these are the games I care about. I don't care about wins over the Raptors or whoever that isn't going to matter when the playoffs come around. I care about like 8 games a year that I have circled that I really think matter, and this is obviously one of them. You're playing at home. You're playing against a team in the West that's supposedly going to be a team that you end up possibly seeing in the NBA Finals. So these are statement games. These are games that you can figure out where you stack up against the best. And again, another great example was against Minnesota. Great game. Celtics pulled that one off, and it was a win that we're going to be talking about off and on for the rest of the year. This would have been one of those too. We'll still probably mention it because of the way it went in the opposite direction. The Celtics need to win these games to prove to themselves, to themselves, that their record they aren't fraudulent. This record means what it means because they're the best team in the league, not because they tried harder in games that didn't matter. So you're muted.
Sorry, Sherrod, I muted you. I was hearing a lot of background behind you. Still hearing it. I'm gonna get back to you in a minute, Sherrod.
John, you gonna fax my dog me, or are you gonna comment?
No. I was waiting for Sherrod to jump in there, and I was looking at some of the comments here. I'm not gonna fax my dog you. Is it fax your dog you?
Fax my dog.
Fax my dog.
My dog you. Yeah.
No, I don't disagree with any.
I don't want to miss it if we didn't.
I don't disagree with any of it. I don't think. I'll ask this question because I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't like overreacting to the one game. When they're playing the way they're playing.
Overreacting?
I don't overreact. When I feel one thing. No, I don't do that. But there's certain things that I think are things, and sometimes I get to point those out because that's what the tape shows. I don't think this is a night. I don't think there's anything about this tonight.
I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting. I'm just reacting.
They just sucked a little bit. But I'll ask, like, you watch the other two stars on the other side going bananas. You think Tatum and Brown are like, oh, I got to go bananas too. Like I wonder if they're thinking like, I got to match this. I don't know, but this is one of the first games I've seen them kind of puke all over themselves in crunch time. And we've talked about how well they've played down the stretch relative to past seasons and how they've been. This really did have an old Celtics vibe to it. And every time that comes out, I think everybody kind of has that visceral reaction and a little bit of PTSD. They're bums. This is like Wiggins locking up Tatum all over again. Joe and his threes and all the greatest hits come out all at once. And I think that's what's happening a little bit tonight. But it was weird to watch them just kind of just walk it up. The point Tatum stuff, ISO ball, wait till late in the shot clock, just settling for the first three that they looked. And then on top of that, just being just horribly, woefully off. And Sherrod is back, so we'll unmute him and let him kind of chime in there too.
Yeah, they the vibes as far as like this being like the Celtics team that we used to loathe and hate for losing these games, you did get those vibes. But again, I just wish they did a better job of just reading the room. All season long, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis have been your most impactful scorers down the stretch. And time again, what are those guys doing late in the game? They're decoys. Why? Why the hell are your best players in certain this is why you add talent that has different strengths that they bring to the game so that you can utilize those strengths when you need them most. They needed a shot at the rim or a wide open look or someone who could get to the cup and potentially finish. And Derek White was their best player, I thought, tonight at beating his man off the dribble and getting some action at the rim that ends with a bucket. And if you don't get that, use Tatum to help you free Derek White up so that Derek can get a wide, lightly contested or wide open look. It's frustrating that it's like watching a team that has all the pieces to win damn near every game, and for some reason they're just like, no, we don't want to do what makes sense. We're going to want to do what we feel comfortable doing. Because leaning on Tatum to take your game-winning shot or game-time shot is a comfortable thing to do, but that doesn't make it the right thing to do.
It doesn't. But they did it.
Yeah.
It kept happening. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I like I said, I don't want to keep banging on it. Just a little bit frustrating the way it went down.
What do you think of the Nuggets, Sherrod? I mean, are
tonight.
I forget if you had the Nuggets coming out of the West. I forget what the predictions were, but
they're legit. They're so legit. And
I also think
go ahead,
these two teams. I think these two teams. Again, even the Celtics didn't play a great game tonight. I think these two teams are still a class above the rest of the competition. Even if it was a sneaky, not great second half, certainly offensively from both sides, you can see that both sides can play defense and both sides can really run a high level offense as well. But I think they are. I think they're I wouldn't say head and shoulders, but I think there's separation between them and the rest of the pack in both conferences.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're looking at who's going to come out of their respective conferences based upon what we've seen up to this point in the season, I think you got to go with them coming out of the West, not only because of the defending champions, but they know when to. They're a smart basketball team. You look at the numbers, and Jokic, and Murray carried them down the stretch, but they were able to get little this, little that from guys through the first 3 quarters. But when it was game-winning time, they leaned on their two best players. And the Celtics are built differently than that. They don't need to lean on their 2 best players for the first 3 quarters to win a game. They need to lean on their best fourth quarter guys who have consistently shown the ability to make plays for themselves or for teammates when the game is on the line. And right now, it's Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis. That's their big 2 down the stretch. At least those are the 2 guys I want to see the ball in their hands more than anyone else late in games.
I mean, it's the big 2 because you're going to get matchups with those guys much more so than you're going to get when Tatum and Brown are getting attention or they have stronger defenders on them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no doubt about it. I want to see the offense run through White consistently. He's much better at moving the ball, and keeping the ball movement. It doesn't stick. And he's very good at finding the matchup. As he did late there on that when Jimmy and I were talking about it, those back-to-back possessions where Tatum hit the floater and then the next one, White holds, waits for Brown to really get to his spot, gives it to him in a place where he can do damage. That waiting that long and then making the entry the way he did makes that play as much as Brown just using his physicality to get up and over Murray because he earned his position. He got to where he could do damage, and White recognized that and waited for it. And stuff like that. Those are little things, that he did. He did so many little things too, in addition to hitting shots. But that's the stuff that he's doing with that kind of level of composure late in the game. And he's not necessarily thinking like, I got to set my guy up and take a shot and do this. He really just kind of takes what the game gives it. There. So I agree on the White stuff with the ball in his hands.
I want to say,
Jimmy, what's your Denver take?
Well, no, I real quick. This guy is saying that I'm suggesting that the Celtics are fraudulent. My point is, by beating these teams, you disprove that theory. That like last year, a lot of teams would say the Celtics are fraudulent because they ended up with the record that they had, and then they bowed out in the second round. So some people would say they were front runners and that they just piled up wins in the regular season. Well, I'm saying they might still pile up wins in the regular season, but when you beat teams like Denver and Indy and Milwaukee and Philly and those teams that you're going to see in the playoffs, when you beat them consistently, and they have, to their credit, they have beaten those teams. They've lost to them as well, though. So that's where you start to say, okay, how much better are they than those teams? Yeah, they're better than the rest of the pack. So is Milwaukee, Indy, Denver, Minnesota. Those are the teams that I want to stack them up against. If they're floating around 500 against those teams, then I'm less confident in them than I think their record would show. That's not to say that they're fraudulent. It's just to say that these are the games that matter to me. But I think about Denver, they look like the defending champs, John. They look like a team that knows how to play on both sides of the ball. They clamped down absolutely when they needed to. They made Tatum kind of look like a fool out there at certain points, and that's hard to do. And that's not a knock on Tatum. I mean, he was off tonight, but you got to give Denver credit for the way that they played on both ends of the court. And they have an all-time player in Jokic. Obviously, he's going to go down as an all-time great. He's a contender for MVP this year with Embiid again. And that's not going to change anytime soon. So as long as he's doing his thing, and Murray is a dog. We saw it last year. But I think he's a lot more known on the mainstream now. I think he was like bit of an unheralded player. Always a tough player. I mean, always a tough guy. And he's had rifts with the Celtics all the way back to the Jay Crowder days. They were going at it. So you remember that, Sherrod?
I do. That's why I'm laughing, man. Those are some good times.
Great times. He's proven to be, where he is. He's there for a reason. He's a tough ass player to guard against, and he hits big shots. He's got the stones to do it. And with those two guys leading the way, they didn't even. What's crazy is Denver didn't get a lot of help from their secondary stars tonight. Like Porter didn't do a whole lot. I mean,
he had some nice second. He created some nice second chance opportunities.
Where was Aaron Gordon tonight? I mean, late in the game, maybe he showed himself, but he was nothing.
Playing some defense, doing some of the dirty stuff, but he didn't. Nothing as far as scoring. I mean, he's grabbing boards, but I mean, man,
Denver could have played better tonight too. Exactly. So like they are not a team to mess with. Absolutely. And if it ends up being Celtics Nuggets in the NBA Finals, that could go any way. Any which way that one could go. That'd be a great matchup.
Real quick, just yes or no. Who liked the Celtics crunch time offense? Raise your hand. Anyone?
No.
Nobody.
Of course not.
You know who did?
Joe.
I thought we got at the rim at will. I thought we had some kick out threes. Could probably get KP a couple more post ups. But they put a small on him, and they had both bigs behind, and so they were able to crowd the paint a little bit. But I'll have to go back and watch it. But I thought in real time, I liked the shots that we got. I liked the spacing that we got.
Yeah, that shot when you called the timeout and came out after 4.9 seconds left and Tatum takes a fade. I like that shot too, Joe. I like that one too.
Force it to
I don't disagree. They got a couple going to the basket. They did get some threes, but it's that whole, but then again, you're right. Coming out of the timeout, a mess. Tatum in the biggest possession of the game, going 1-on-3, losing control of the ball and then shooting it over his head.
Like just throwing it up. He's trying to get a foul every time.
I don't know how you can call that a good possession. That's just bad. That's bad decision. You pull that out. You pull that one out when you realize you don't have it.
I was so ready to come on here and just absolutely give Joe Mazzulla so much love because he called those two timeouts he called late in the game were great. They were great. That was maybe the one. If I had to put together the Joe Mazzulla highlight reel, those two timeouts would be on it because it was great coaching. But for him to say that they got great looks, the one thing he did say that I did agree with was that they probably should have got Porzingis a couple more touches on the block. Your 7'3" big man who is rolling along, got 15 points in the first 7, 8, 9 minutes of the game. Down the stretch, he's been one of your top two clutch players all season. Yeah, I might want to get him a couple more touches in a one possession game. I might want to do that. As opposed to taking contested threes or fadeaway twos with two defenders on me. I might want to do that. Yeah.
Who's this guy Frank? This guy Frank is making this an American thing. You ever follow the European soccer team? They'll literally murder. They'll murder the player. Never mind complain about the guy. So I don't think it's an American thing.
Ask Christian Pulisic how he felt about the treatment he got.
Right. Exactly. Go to any country.
Underachieving for Chelsea. Yeah. They're right. Colombian soccer players are legitimately getting murdered. Right. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're actually pretty tame here. People, I don't think people are raging here. I do think it's a little bit loud. I think I'm gonna defend. I'm critical of Tatum because I just want to see
more.
Yeah, you want to see the stuff that. You want to see him get away from the stuff he doesn't do as well, and lean into the stuff that he does. And you see the stretch of games he's been playing when he's kind of doing a little bit of everything, which is the difficult shot making, the pull-up threes, but seemingly in rhythm. They don't seem as forced. And, there's times when they do seem forced. This just felt one of those where he couldn't get himself into a rhythm to decide when he was going to take a guy down and when he was going to go. I don't think it was his worst game ever. I just don't think he ever got into a great offensive rhythm. I do think he tried to attack some, and he was actually fairly successful. He just couldn't hit threes, and I think he was making some bad choices in that regard.
But like, I think everyone's really quick to do the whole he's not that guy thing. He might not be that guy, but that's going to be determined in a year or 2 years when you have a team as
You said
talented as
Brissett was that guy on the last show.
we're going to figure out whether Tatum is that guy or enough of the guy that you need at the end of the year or at the end of next year or after this window closes with this core. And if you're not able to win it with these guys, and if Tatum and or Brown come up short, those questions are going to come back up again. They come up every year when they do fall short and everyone says supporting cast this, blah, 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 that, so I'm not going to do it after one game, but there's still going to be question marks until they win it, right? And until you see them do it, and until you see them do it against the better teams and the more challenging situations, the teams that know how to make life hard for you, to frustrate you, and whether you can bounce back and fight through some of these games where it isn't necessarily going for you and still make the big plays when you need to. But they've been doing it, and he's been doing it lately, and it's really hard to argue with the results overall. So I'm not taking this one game and kind of jumping to those conclusions off of it as much as some people might expect me to do that. So that's my overall take on it. I hated it tonight. I hated it, but I'm not in freak out mode over it like Jimmy is. Jimmy's losing his mind. I'm just kidding.
Oh, look at me.
He's not. Real quick, couple sponsor shout outs. Check out FanDuel here, NFL playoffs this weekend. You want to get in on the action, official partner of the NFL and the wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Get $150 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet at fanduel.com/Boston. Make sure you sign up. Once again, fanduel.com/Boston. And $150 in bonus bets. You deposit 10, bet 5, and that is that. The $150 goes right into your account. You can use that to bet and make other bets and win more cash. Once again, fanduel.com/Boston. Get in on the action today. Also want to tell you about HelloFresh. Get yourself some HelloFresh and get into free breakfast for life. That's what I'm talking about. HelloFresh.com/CLNS free. When you order a food box today, if you use that code CLNS free, you will get free breakfast items for life in addition to whatever delicious meal kit that they send you. Once again, farm fresh ingredients, pre-packaged, sent to your door, menu cards, open up the box, dice it all up. It's all done for you. All you got to do is cook it. 15 minutes, restaurant quality meal, fraction of the price, well worth it. HelloFresh.com, America's number one meal service. Make sure you get in on that action right now. HelloFresh.com/CLNS free. We're rocking what now? What are we rocking? We're rocking a blame pie. Oh no, that's not fair. Marcus Smart.
No, that's not the one. These are old, John. These are old.
They can't be old. Holidays on it.
No, they're old. Like they're for other losses. They're from other losses specific.
No,
to
Marcus isn't even in a damn time zone, and he's still getting blamed for stuff. Come on.
I'll tell you, Nick doesn't matter what, is picking silver every time.
That's true.
Nick Gelso's picking
fair.
silver.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right. Marcus Smart actually could deserve it. Maybe a little bit of that blame pie. No, go to the other one for a second. No, you can stick with this one. It's Tatum. I mean, it's Tatum, regardless of which one you use.
Tatum on a night when he doesn't turn the ball over once. That's crazy. And it's
Sherrod.
Yeah.
Who? I mean, are you disagreeing, or are you just saying it's crazy that he's still getting the blame?
No. It's just he does the one. He does the one thing.
He didn't turn the ball over once, but he took some shots that were just as damn well bad as turnovers, man.
But that's
why just hand him the ball.
This was a game where he excelled in the one area that he probably gets criticized for more than anything else, which is turning the ball over. And yet he still did so many other things that were just cringeworthy. Shot selection, the fact that this was not a good Tatum game.
Thanks, James. No, it wasn't. It's a bad Tatum game, and it's a frustrating game. It's annoying. I hate watching him play that way. I don't like. I hate those shots. I hate the hero ball shots. I hate the if it's not going for me, I'm just going to keep bombing away and see if maybe a couple of these fall. It wasn't great.
I like the idea of him still looking to be aggressive offensively, but if the three's not going, find a way to get on the block. Call some sets where the way that they were having Porzingis matched up like right in the middle of the paint. How about flipping out a little bit and have Tatum wind up in that position where he's got a guy like Reggie Jackson on him? Try to create some action to get him easier shots. And that was the one thing that was disappointing. I didn't think Joe did a good job of putting him in positions to get easy shots. You're not going to get a ton of those against a team like Denver, but there just didn't seem to be sets that they were running where that was a goal, where that was something that they were able to execute effectively. So, disappointing, definitely. Borderline pissed off is where I'm heading. And I'm trying not to go there.
I'll get you there, Sherrod.
I just want to embrace this as they played the defending champs. It was a one possession game, but watching it, it really shouldn't have been that way. They should have won this game. They should have won this game.
I actually think they should have won this game comfortably because, as you said, the turnovers are low. There's a lot of things that went in their favor.
Why should they have won it comfortably? I'm confused.
It was just bad execution.
Bad execution.
Just bad execution. They played it pretty clean. They played with a good energy, I thought. I thought Murray and Jokic were out of their minds. It wasn't like these were all freebies. They were hitting tough shots everywhere. So
they were, but when you look at the production that they got from everybody else, John, they didn't really get a whole lot. So
that's what I'm saying.
Everything you say about the Celtics, you can say about the Nuggets. It's like, okay,
I know, but they
can expect to have more than 2 points from Aaron Gordon on most nights.
2 turnovers as a team, it's just
that's crazy. But they shot like shit, so they didn't maximize those extra possessions that they didn't give up.
Nuggets shot horribly from 3 also. You know what I mean? Nuggets shot worse. They didn't have a great game. Like, that's the point. Is like, I thought the Celtics had a couple of moments. I thought the Celtics had a couple of moments tonight where they could have pushed this game into double digits and then had the Nuggets chase them. And they had the Nuggets chase them, and they squandered it. I'm going to ask this now because I hate doing this also. I hate the Joe game. And Joe, and how do you make a blame pie and not put Joe on it?
I told him to put Joe. He put Marcus on instead.
How do you not put Joe on it? Not because I want to give Joe a slice of it, but don't you think the fans want to give Joe a heaping slice of blame pie? I'll ask you this. Cornette, that's all I'm going to say. No.
Cornette. That was talking Cornette. Next.
That's talking Cornette. And no Brissett tonight.
I don't know. Well, first of all, Amon is putting Marcus Smart in there to trigger me clearly because he wants me to be on the Jimmy side.
He's getting you mad.
Exactly. That's what he's doing, and I get that. But no, this was again. There were so many little, and John, it goes back to what you're saying about the little things. There were so many little things that they just did not do, that they just didn't seem to understand. This is what we need to do to win this game, and
Joe's on the pie.
Brown gets some of that. Give Brown some of that. I'm giving it I'm giving
Marcus remains.
I'm giving 60, 30, 10. I'm giving 60 to Tatum, 30 to Brown, and I'm giving
10 to Joe.
Giving 10 to Joe, but I think Joe might need more than 10.
I was gonna say I'm going 60, 20, 20.
Okay, that's fair.
Tatum 60, Jalen 20, Joe 20.
I might go 50, 30, 20.
Nah.
No?
I'm 60's I think that's
what about this? 50, 25, 25.
No.
Okay.
You can give out your own pie.
Offer. That's my final pie offer. That's my pie. 50,
I'm going 60,
50, 25,
20, 20. 60, 20, 20 feels right.
Okay. Go on.
Because I just think that at the end of the day, Tatum's basketball sins were greater than Jalen and Joe's.
That's fair, Sherrod. What were you saying though? You were talking about.
Is this John's pie?
It's not the X's and O's. It's the Jalen's and Joe's. That's what they always say, right?
That's what they say. I like that.
That's what they say. That. It's the Jalen's and Joe's.
I like that.
That's funny.
How can we find a way to get that into the bracket? Jalen and Joe's.
To the Jalen's and Joe's. I got to start thinking about the bracket. I'm gonna have to solicit stuff in one of these shows and we'll bring it back. I had one ready. We were just, you know what it was? FanDuel killed us last year because we were starting off with them and we were just too busy and we were onboarding a bunch of different things and we just ran out of gas. We couldn't
That's
do
okay. We'll take it.
And I only had one Amit.
You still only have one on it.
I know, but I got a Joey this year, and he's phenomenal also.
Oh,
He's taking
I got to meet Joey. I got to meet Joey.
Yeah, I got a Joey. Joey Capone. He's a celebrity.
Joey Capone.
Yeah, he's a celebrity. He's got an awesome Red Sox podcast.
Really? Does he?
As
Too
well.
bad he doesn't have an awesome team to podcast about. They suck.
Oh my God! If I can have a minute later,
they are horrific. God. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute at the end of the show. We'll do a Red Sox minute.
I will tell you. I will do a Red Sox minute. I will tell you. This might be the darkest. This might be the most grim thing I've ever heard anybody say from the Breslow comments the other day was about this. And then you got to hear like Werner tonight. Oh my God.
I didn't hear it, but I read it like,
oh, it's so bad.
They're like, are they broke? They might be broke.
They said Tom Werner today said they're not worried about part of what it is. They're asked about ticket prices and when they're not spending money, they're going to spend less money this year. And they recognize winning might not be the thing, but what they're selling to fans is the Fenway experience. They're basically telling you, just come in here and just look around
it's
at
an
the
amusement
park,
park
take some pictures. It's a museum.
Right. No, it's not about the product anymore. It's just about the experience. They're trying to distract you from what's going on.
From bad baseball.
Don't take the medication, people. Spit it out. They're trying to drug you. They're trying to make you be a zombie at these games. Don't do it. The product on the field is garbage. Don't be looking all around at the.
Don't do it.
Spit it out.
Don't do it.
Spit it out.
Don't do it.
That's what they want you to do. Take your pills and shut up. Don't do it.
Don't do it. But we'll hit that a little bit later here. Other thoughts from tonight. I know. Here's what's so funny. This is like my full circle Garden Report life. Constantly told to talk about Jalen when he's having a good game and we're not giving him enough love. The chat is freaking out for us to start blaming Jalen for this game as well. I can't figure you guys out. I cannot figure you guys out.
It's overshadowed. It's overshadowed. But again, he shot practically just as poorly as Tatum. I mean, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I know they both were abysmal from three and from the field in general.
They shot about the same. Jalen was like 6 for 19, 1 for 9 on threes, 13 points.
Tatum took percentage wise, they're pretty close to each other.
And like Jalen or like Jason, he didn't have any turnovers either. Which again, the fact that those two guys can have a 0 turnover game combined and you don't win, what?
You know what? We should probably give this might not be pie talk, but if we're gonna
it's always
we're gonna
pie talk.
What do you mean it's not pie talk?
We're gonna criticize players. Holiday could be on that blame pie.
By the way, the pie graphic Amit needs like a picture of me like this.
With oven mitts on. Yeah.
With oven mitts and a chef's hat.
Holiday needs to be on that blame pie, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
He was playing poorly enough where they didn't go to him in the fourth for a stretch of time there. And that's not the first time it's happened. Mm-hmm. I never thought that Holiday was going to be a matchup type guy. I thought that he would just be in the game because whoever's out there, he's going to lock down. And it's not the case as often as I thought. It's still the case often, but it's not the case every single time, which is kind of what I thought. His shot tonight was off, again, like everybody else's. John's just giggling up. I'm making a point here. No, I'm adding a player to the blame pie, John. This is a serious matter.
Dog.
I'm not. I'm giggling at this comment.
Yeah, we'll play that. We might play that a little bit. If things get really angry, we'll have to play that.
Sherrod, that's how we started. We didn't play it for the audience. Jimmy and I, before we went on, so we wouldn't be all pissy and sour.
Right.
We played the Bobby video and we're just howling.
And it went the opposite direction. John was cracking up to start the show, and I think that
everyone's like, "What's wrong with these guys?" John's baked, and everyone got mad.
Oh, that video is just a classic.
Watch that. I was like, my game's kind of like Brandon Bass and whoever else he said.
We need to find a way to get that into the bracket too.
We need to get Brandon Bass to watch that and be like, dude, what? I hope the guy look nothing like you out there. We need also we need the Stanley clip, John. We need the Stanley clip bad.
Yeah. That's all I could think of.
It's perfect.
The vat. Yeah. It's perfect.
Anywho.
Goodness.
Anywho, they lost to the Nuggets, and now they're off to reunite with Grant and Ime.
Oh yeah, road trip.
We didn't talk. I didn't get a chance to talk about this. Was there anything less climactic than the Ime Udoka reunion?
No, because everyone's a freaking wuss. I will say this: I heard more boos than cheers, but I didn't hear it loud enough of either one, which I guess speaks to your point, Johnny.
I wasn't at the game, so I don't know, but everything I heard from folks who were there, it sounds as though it was just a big nothing burger.
Big nothing.
Yeah, big nothing.
It was mixed but muted. It was nothing.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. How much vitriol did we really expect with him being a coach? It's not like when Kyrie comes back and every time he touches the ball, you can boo him and let him know you don't want him there. What the hell are you going to do to coach when he's introduced? You'll boo him, and that's pretty much the only time the coach has any type of.
That's all I thought would happen.
Right.
I just thought it would be louder, and it wasn't. So
yeah.
Hand up. I thought we had tougher Celtics fans at the games, but we don't.
They just don't care.
Roll out the red carpet for everybody who comes through there. They cheer for Jokic tonight too. I wasn't there, shot. Did they give Jamal Murray a standing O after he hit his big shot?
A lot of people mad at the refs. Did the refs do anything to the Celtics tonight?
You know what? You go, Sean.
I was going to say there were a couple of questionable calls. Yeah, there were. No, there's no doubt about that. But that happens every game. At the end of the day, make open shots. At the end of the day, get offensive rebounds and end those offensive rebounds by scoring. They had a stretch where they had like 3 or 4 consecutive offensive rebounds, and they didn't score. And once Denver got the ball back, what does Jamal Murray do? He literally goes coast to coast and finishes for a layup. It was a pretty emphatic FU Celtics moment right there. You got 4 cracks to get 1 basket, you fail. I get 1 shot at the rim, deuce, 2 points.
The ref.
They weren't great.
The rest of the refs. I'd pull all my hair out if I had to talk about the refs because there's always something to complain about, sure. But the one that I just hated, and again,
I know which one you're talking about, but go ahead, say it.
Yeah. It's the tech on Tatum for hanging on the rim.
Dunk. Yeah.
Did he hang on the rim? Yeah, he did. He did a little bit extra with the pull up there. Were there players underneath him? Yeah, I think there were.
Yeah, there was a player that
make that case. But listen. That tech is get that tech out of the game. That's not the point of the tech to me. The tech is to keep the game from getting too chippy.
Correct.
Like if there's a tech because players are pushing and shoving and it's getting out of control, throw the tech, slow things down. That's a momentum. That's part of home court. Like you run the court, you throw down the dunk. You show off a little bit. It's a show at the end of the day.
Yeah,
we want them to be superstars.
That was the issue of, I think, for most fans was that it was a momentum killer. That
exactly.
play. It wasn't so much the point itself. It was just the fact that they were starting to put a little bit of separation between them, get the crowd into the game, and then things got real dead real quick.
Tatum doing what he did not affect anything on the Nuggets end at
all. So again, it's one of those things where it's a tech, but it shouldn't be. So that's the problem is people are arguing that it's bullshit. It's not. That's a tech. That's
it's a problem. That's why Adam Silver is on the blame pie.
Get him in that blame pie. It's absolutely.
I'm giving him 5%.
It's absolutely a tech for excessive celebration. It shouldn't be a tech. Just let them excessively celebrate. Celebration.
There were players underneath Tatum.
Nah, the player was clear, and
he was clear. Yeah.
It was emphatic for effect, and it was cool, and fans like it, and it should have a place in the game. So don't make that a tech, but it is a tech. So if you know it's a tech, don't do it, and then don't get mad when they call it. It just is what it is, but it shouldn't be a tech. It's stupid.
Like the heat of them. It's like you're fired up,
yes, it's good for the game.
Momentum's carrying you, actual momentum.
Those things are good. Let them have it.
Just
let them have
it. Refs suck, man. They really do. They blow it.
Yeah.
They didn't affect the end of this game, though.
This is a good thing.
So
I like this.
Call it a delay, not a tech, right? It's same thing as batting the ball away. You know what I mean? It's not a
Sure.
tech. It shouldn't be a tech.
Yeah, you get away with one, like somebody.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I like that one. I like that because it's a stupid tech. It's a stupid tech.
Yeah, it
no
just
question about it.
It just sucks the momentum out of what's going on, And the fans, yeah, they're gonna boo just as loud as they were cheering. So it's not like the place shut up after, but it's like the noise meter, Sherrod. That's when the noise meter goes up and everybody gets louder and the place gets crazy. They took that from us tonight. The refs did. Adam Silver did, and that's why he's on the plane.
Guys, he wasn't protecting himself. He was celebrating. It was cool. We liked it. It was a celebration.
Right.
That wasn't a protection. Tatum's not roaring, pulling himself up on the rim to be safe. He was excited. Excitement is good. Enough with he was protecting himself. He wasn't. But you can let it go or just not have it be a tech. Just don't have it be a tech. It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb. He did a pull-up on the rim. It was celebration. All right, Bobby's coming, so we got to play this once before.
Now, I don't really know what to expect from J. King. I know he likes to talk a big game. I know a lot of people on Twitter gave me their scouting reports, but I got to get a nice feel from early on. I don't think he's ready for me. I take a lot of pride in my
narrator. He's
not ready for me. A mix of Tyler Zeller and Brandon Bass, somewhere in between that. So I'm really going to be bringing it on the offensive boards. He better box me out real good.
Oh, God.
A lot of people pick this guy, but I don't think they know what to expect. We'll see.
Tyler Zeller and Brandon Bass.
It's definitely Boston.
Tyler Zeller and
Game
Brandon
time.
Bass.
Here we go.
It's going to take like an hour and a half. Yeah, I might be only there for about 10 minutes.
Oh, look at that. Getting into the body.
Game. That's game right there.
This is where it gets good here.
You're Stanley from The Office.
Whoa.
Looks like Tatum tonight. Oh boy.
What is that?
It went in.
It went in. Are we here?
He froze. Bobby just shot the show off. Oh,
Oh, I don't want that. I want that. Sorry.
I kind of like that. I like it. Like the thing about Bobby was like, it was like every time he dribbled the ball, it was like he surprised that it would bounce back up to him. It was like he had never seen that
combination of
before.
Tyler Zeller and Brandon Bass.
Hey, Bobby, there's Zeller.
Brandon Bass just caught a stray.
Bobby coming out of the locker room. What's the vibe?
Uh-oh.
Bobby,
Is this angry Bobby?
Maybe he's not
Quiet
here yet.
Bobby?
But
Maybe it's a holiday.
Oh.
he's mad that Jimmy played the clip.
I didn't play the clip, but I did enjoy the clip.
You made me play the clip.
I didn't make you. You have producer control.
You made me play the clip.
I think he's got an internet. Sherrod had a Wi-Fi issue to start. Bobby's got a Wi-Fi issue to start. It's all good. Is Josue there tonight? That means his Wi-Fi is going to be going berserk.
There was a Josue sighting.
Okay.
Briefly. I don't know if he's still here. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Any good commentary coming out of the game?
I haven't even looked. I've been zoned in, as you guys can see.
Totally
Zoned in.
Yep.
All right. We'll welcome in Bobby. Bobby, what's the rumpus?
Bobby, there he is.
What are the kids say? What are the kids saying after the game? No, I don't have you. Oh, hold on, you're muted. Go ahead. No, still muted.
Still nothing.
No volume. No audio from you. Yeah, no. All right.
Josue's talking to Tatum right now, so we'll get some Tatum info from Josue, I think.
We'll work it out.
Bobby, we
work it out.
We need to hear your voice.
I know. We need the insights. We need the insights from
All right.
Thanasis.
Well, in the meantime, we'll play the clip one more time, and then
Jimmy, you are such an ass sometimes. God.
oh,
Try it now, Bobby.
All right, there we go.
there he is.
What's going on?
What's up?
Not a ton of concern out of this one from the Celtics side. I think they're looking at this as just a game where it went down the wire, at least in Joe Mazzulla's terms. They get a shot to tie the game there and go to overtime, and they miss it. Obviously, some crunch time concerns out of this one. Denver really flattened them out with the small lineup, with the switching. They even went to some switching with Jokic late. So certainly some offensive things to clean out of this one. I thought, defensively, you're going to look at the numbers from Jokic, you're going to look at the numbers from Murray and just be blown away. But, I mean, they held Gordon to nothing, KCP to nothing. All these other guys essentially did nothing. So you knew that was the approach going in. You were going to let those guys get theirs. You saw it from the opening possessions, John, when he was going right at Porzingis, and the Celtics really weren't bringing help. They tried to double at times against Murray in the second half. Didn't look like anything was really going to work against him and his shot making in this one. And, as we've talked about when we've ranked those duos, John, Murray and Jokic just levels above Tatum and Brown, and that was the story of this
tonight.
One, really.
Tonight they were.
Yeah.
Tonight they were. Tonight those guys hit everything, and the other guys hit nothing. I mean,
especially down the stretch. I mean, it's just all missed shots from Tatum and Brown. It was a story of crunch time, and I don't feel like they produced bad shots late. They certainly got to the free throw line. Brown had those couple that he missed. The one thing I didn't love was Brown and White launching threes on the offensive rebounds after that. And certainly I think the Celtics got a little 3-point happy in this one. So they had to find a balance here. And the Nuggets, this isn't known as a defensive team. I thought they did some really effective stuff on that end of the floor, especially adjusting after halftime, putting small guys on Porzingis. And the one thing Joe did admit after the game was that they should have posted up Porzingis more.
Yes.
Look, Sherrod's getting angry. But
eight shots.
You just made Sherrod angry.
Bobby, how did they get Porzingis more involved?
Jimmy, we need to run the video again. We need to run the video again to make me happy. No, I'm just messing.
Bobby, it honestly feels like unless Porzingis is getting like the hockey assist pass, he's not involved enough. He gets a hot start tonight, and then it just becomes the Tatum and Brown show, which, by the way, was a horror show.
It's up to the playmakers to get it to him. And I don't think the ball is in White's hands enough in this one. I think he's a guy who looks for the centers more than Tatum and Brown do.
Can we – that's the thing is, like, why? So explain that. Like, why? I know when Holiday went out, and you went double big up until the 3-4 minute mark whenever Holiday came back in, you were running some point Tatum stuff there. But why is it out of White's hands? What are we not? What's the hesitation to just let him kind of run it?
I think it goes back to them running a free-flowing style. I mean, they're going to throw the ball to Tatum. They're going to throw the ball to Brown in a lot of those sets. And there's obviously not too much coming from the sideline to change that as they try to, run offense here through the players. So, it probably does come down to some interjection, especially in a game like this, John, where this is a bit of a playoff preview, where obviously both teams are scheming and running their rotations at that level. You probably do want to start to prepare for putting your finger more on the offense with some play calls, with some just interjection to get a guy a ball, especially if you're coming out of the game saying that was a problem, is that guy didn't get the ball enough. And I do feel like that's probably this offense's biggest issue, is getting the ball where it needs to go. If there's a hot start, if there's, a guy who has a matchup outside of Tatum and Brown, right? Because those guys are getting set up for a lot of different mismatches. But Porzingis certainly, I think at times this year has gone a little underutilized. And I know, they're trying to use him to draw more attention, right? And that could free up Tatum and Brown too. I think there was one play early in this game where Porzingis had the ball at the elbow and Brown went cutting downhill. I can't remember if he made it or if he got blocked. He got blocked a couple of times on those plays, but that's what you're looking for, right?
That is what you're looking for. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, Porzingis was the guy, Jimmy, in this game who's going to put the most pressure on the Nuggets. They have wing defenders for Tatum and Brown. They're good enough to be able to contain Holiday and White, as they showed. White really got going in the second half, but early, he wasn't a big factor. Porzingis was the guy who was just driving everything early. It was like every time down the floor early in this game, he was hitting a three or,
going right by Murray. Whenever he got Murray on him, it was just like no one was on him. So that's certainly something they lost on the trip. I mean, did he shoot in the last 5 minutes? I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he did either.
No,
And
it was Tatum.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bobby.
He had a great, and he played, again, the block that he had on Jokic late in that game was awesome. It went out of bounds there, but he was active as hell tonight. And I just feel like, I don't know how you forget that you have this guy on your team to the point where he's just completely out of the offense. And I do know why, because you explained it perfectly. When it becomes point Tatum and point Brown, the blinders go on.
Yeah.
And the ball doesn't move around as much. And it was moving around earlier in the game. They were making the extra pass. They were getting open looks. They weren't hitting them, but they were getting open looks.
Yeah, but the second half was like that too, Jimmy. But sorry,
yeah, but late in that fourth Josue, it's like when it seemed to change, and they fell into some old habits.
Yeah, and then they certainly adjusted.
Of course, as any championship caliber team would. But it feels like Joe called 2 timeouts, and it was the first one was to Brown, which got blown up. And I thought he called the timeout a little bit too late once it did. And then the second play was just the one everyone knew was going to happen. Inbound to Tatum, turn around, and force it. Josue, I think you were there for Tatum. Is that accurate after the game?
Yeah, it's accurate. He says he blamed himself for anticipating the foul. He wasn't sure if they were going to do it, and then he just didn't give himself enough time. But
he said rushed it, yeah.
He rushed it, yeah. That's just that's always been the plan, and I know it's frustrating for Celtics fans because it's been a while since we've seen Tatum drain one of those shots, in the clutch. But that's just what they do. And I thought he got a clean look in this one, but the layup is what crushed me more. I mean, that's one of those where I felt like he rushed that one as well, and I get it. Jokic was on his hip. You got 2 guys in front of you. Maybe he's anticipating the foul, but it just seemed like the rim. All of a sudden, he looked up; it was right there, and he just the timing of it was completely off, and that really killed him, man. When the margin of error is that thin, that razor thin, in the Celtics, outside of that dunk that he converted, they didn't score a field goal in those last 4 minutes. So I mean,
that's crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah, it was, man. And you wonder, in sense of their execution. Yeah, I mean, they do have blinders on. Jimmy, you're right. They looked at Jalen. They looked at Tatum, of course, and not a whole lot of Porzingis. And I thought this was one of those games where with Derek White, the way he was playing the second half, I was like, man, he's gonna make one of those huge shots here. Got a really good look in the corner for 3, and he just missed it. And look, that was the right play. A lot of those plays,
I like that pass, yeah.
The Celtics made the right play, but in that final minute and a half, it was anyone's ball game. It seemed like essentially the way that jump ball went center court. And for Celtics to regain possession, it's just tough. Obviously, it just didn't fall their way.
Yeah, and I was screaming at you, Josue, out of that play because the timeout came in so late. Tatum was fumbling the ball around along the sideline, and the 2 timeouts in that final play, John, are interesting there because Joe's explanation was that he called them to prevent a foul. So if he didn't see a foul coming there, was he just going to let that play out? And then, as Tatum mentioned, Josue just said it there, he was anticipating a foul inside the arc. And I talked to, Aaron Gordon. He said they weren't fouling after the timeout. So, he was anticipating something that wasn't coming there. And did that throw off his shot? Did that kind of screw up his timing there? It was certainly a decent look, not a great one.
Why wouldn't they foul there, though? I don't get it. Because I feel like they always would foul. A lot of teams always.
Because he was in the mid range. He wasn't shooting at 3. So they said if they had a foul to give, but he said if he makes the shot there, you just go to overtime. You don't lose. So they were going to foul before the timeout, which is why Joe called timeout. But they weren't going to foul after, and Tatum was anticipating one coming after. Yeah, they lost a lot of time. Right, the timeout came way too late. Yeah. So, you couldn't run a play there. And, both plays were pretty bad. I don't really know exactly what they were looking for in the first one. It was Brown going downhill, right? And then Porzingis got it. He said he really didn't have a great look, so he didn't put it up. And then he just kind of threw it to Holiday, who had nowhere to go. So pretty rough play to end the game there. 2 ones in a row. The second one was a little better. But overall, and there's a team that's been pretty good in crunch time this year. This looked more like past versions of the Celtics in crunch time, despite having Holiday out there, despite having Porzingis out there. I mean, the whole difference with the team this year, John,
they didn't utilize them.
Holiday wasn't even out there until till like later.
Yeah, they went double big too, which was shades of Celtics
we
pass.
hit that earlier, Bobby. That's the only difference tonight. Is it like it was leaning into like the weird old habits and the old look of some of Celtics teams, the ghosts of Celtics past. And that's what it resembled. And I think that's why everybody had kind of the reaction that they had off of it. It's like it's a same old Celtics vibe, but the reality is they haven't been like that all year. They've actually been pretty good in the clutch, and they've battled, and we've seen them actually play better in the last 3-4 minutes of the game than the 5, 6, 7 minutes that preceded it. A lot of times where it would be completely the opposite. They'd go into lockdown, slow down, death mode with a lead with 5 minutes to go, and they haven't done that this year. So this was just bad execution kind of night.
John, I have to ask them since we already answered it, but I got to toss the graphic up. Flame Pie, guys. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Not this one.
Not this
one. What's Adam Silver doing there?
That's for Nick. That's for Nick.
Hold on, let's try this.
Is that he's blaming the league or just it's personal? Like it's all Adam.
Nick always blames him. That's the one.
It. That's not it.
Can you let me do this? I know which one it is. It's
you were doing it? Oh, I
got it. I'm telling you.
John's like one more. John's one show away from changing the password, Jimmy. You better chill.
Wait. Time out, John. How is this the one?
This is the one because the other ones are the one we didn't like, Tatum and Joe.
There's another one to the left of that.
Joe, right?
It's a lot of Joes.
There, that's the one.
You want Joe Pie?
Well, no. You know what's funny? I think Holiday should be on the pie too, but Joe deserves probably more, maybe more. I don't know. Let these guys answer it.
I like Silver.
Too many pies right now, man.
What does Silver have to do with it?
Silver has to be on there because this is.
What was the score? 102, 101, 100. So not 100. A huge difference, but the technical. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And then on top of it, the double lane violation. I mean, how many times are we going to see them just kind of make stuff up?
Can I quibble about that one a little bit?
What the hell was that?
That was actually
they got to change that rule. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You're better if you're the Celtics. You're
about to say what I'm thinking. Yeah,
just taking the free throw because losing the jump ball, game over.
Game over.
Like you missed the free throw.
You're gifting the team the possibility of a whole possession up to and making it a 2-possession game if they win the tap versus just it's a worse penalty than just awarding them another free throw. It's not at all fair. The only fair thing is offsetting penalties and have them shoot the free throw again, but you can't do that either because that's the penalty for just having a lane violation.
Yeah, that's supposed to be right.
There's no resolution there. You have to pick if the only thing to do is if both of them had lane violations, just let the thing play out. You know what I mean? Either call it on one or just call it a missed free throw. There's no fair resolution by doing a jump ball at midcourt. I couldn't believe that's what
but John, that's the thing though. Once you stop the game, there's no going back. You can't just be like, "Oh, my bad, guys." Like,
no, but John, I thought
they can confer on it and say Celtics ball. They got the rebound. It's a double lane violation. It was a miss. The play stands. Like the other one does not make sense.
Did they show the replay on TV?
I don't think they went to replay on that though. I think they just had to make.
Yeah, they just huddled up. There was no replay. I didn't see a replay. I don't think there was a replay.
It's such a dumb rule.
And my thing is, if you're huddled up and you're going to make a decision like that in such a crucial spot of the game, look at the tape. I mean, I don't understand that whole like, okay, So you both have lane violations. All right, then it's settled. Like some tape has to back that up. I was really surprised that there wasn't
the tape. I thought they were going to the tape. I was like, good lord.
Well, here's
I know a lot of people don't like it because it stopped the game. I
don't care about the tape.
If you're gonna stop the game like that, you got to make sure you get that right. And a double lane violation, like Bobby said, I don't think I've ever seen that called in that moment of a game. Any game.
It was pretty.
By the way, brilliant play by Jokic.
Well, so that's what I'm saying, John.
Baiting people into it.
They had to go jump ball there because I think they didn't know who was at fault. I think one ref maybe saw something different, but if anything, the Celtics were at fault there because Jokic didn't even He didn't cross the line. It was just two Celtics players that
That
did.
guy
So,
was just
So
playing.
what?
A different
Jokic
sport
got a
tonight,
false
wasn't he?
start, and he got a false start penalty, and then the Celtics got the offside.
no,
I don't get it.
Jokic
I
didn't do
think
anything
Jimmy's
wrong.
saying that he did that on purpose to trigger the Celtics players.
No,
to
we
do
know
it.
that. I'm
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
Jimmy's saying he didn't even get in the lane, but he got penalized for just starting and getting
No,
the jump.
he got penalized because they didn't know who actually who crossed in a live setting. If they went to the tape,
I thought they got him for like intent.
No, I don't think so. I mean, unless I'm wrong, I don't think so. That would be wild. I think you can do whatever the hell you want.
Something.
You can do the Macarena on the freaking sidelines if you want. I don't know.
As long as you don't cross that line, right?
Don't cross that line.
So you don't
But
think he
anyway.
crossed?
I watched the replay 100 times. I mean, what do we mean by cross? I think his toe crossed, but like he didn't jump over like Brown and I forget who the other one was.
It's a terrible
Before the
call.
ball hit the rim.
Because yes, number one, you wouldn't have known if he crossed if it was that close, and then number two, as John said, it does a lot more damage to Boston in that spot to go to the jump ball.
It's the resolution that drove me nuts. I think that was.
Well, what's your blame pie, Bobby? Who's your pick? Now that we got that out.
It's a good question. It's gonna be Tatum and Brown at the top. It always is. I mean, you missed those shots that he missed.
Oh,
late.
that was John. That wasn't me.
I'm
I
just
mean-
messing
That was
around.
John.
When he said Tatum and Brown, I put up the Joe pie.
Yeah.
Poor
I mean, it's
Jose.
always those three, right? I mean, who?
It's always those three.
Kind of, but it's still fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, the shots Tatum missed. I turned to Josue after the transition run and was like, "Do you call a timeout there?" Because it was a tough miss, but you're always looking there and saying you got a good look, so you're not gonna call. I don't know where that goes coming from, but
When you got a good look, where the one where he like lost control of it?
yeah, with the lefty there.
Yeah, it was a horrible attempt after he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it was too late.
Yeah, right.
What are you gonna do? But he did drive into three people. He wasn't getting calls tonight either at the line. Neither team really went to the line much tonight. The free throws were not a part of this game. That's why I hesitate to blame.
Yeah, but the refs screwed Boston.
Right, I hesitate to really blame the refs too much because of that reason. But it's just like some of the calls they made were just bogus.
There were a lot of physical plays inside. Even the last great basket I thought Boston made. Well, Tatum's dunk was great, but right before crunch time when Brown spun right around Murray, and again, they could get anything they wanted against Murray in this game. He seemed to be some contact on that play Brown wasn't happy about before that, final Nuggets timeout that set them up for the crunch time run there. So it's an interesting game. You saw some Gordon at center for the Nuggets, which was super effective. Jokic played a bunch of different coverages. They were dropping him early. He started going into some switching late. The Celtics tried a little zone at the beginning of the fourth. It didn't go all that well. And then, there was some three-point shooting issues, I thought, in this one in terms of settling. So it's a tough one, right? You want to win this kind of game, given the finals preview. But, you're going to lose some of these. It's just where do you go from here?
So is that like a flaw in the rules that now that they've like exposed the fact that if two guys cross the free throw line, it goes to a jump ball. So you can maybe like kind of force a guy.
Well, you can't, because if you go over, your free throw gets negated.
Yeah, but you get the jump ball instead, and you can get the ball back.
No, but the other guy has to go. If you just go and your guy makes the free
I know.
throw.
You got to figure out a way to get both the guys to go, like maybe nudge him a little bit.
I don't think it was strategic.
I
don't even know if he went, Jimmy.
Jimmy would 100% be that assistant coach, be like, "Hey, listen, guys, I got to play."
Well, I'm being told that what Jokic did was illegal too. So if he can like master that trick.
Jimmy was like the kid in Little League trying to pull the hidden ball trick.
I got a couple guys out that way.
The first day someone showed him that, he was like, "That's amazing."
Oh, you can do that? Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Wait, that's
Jimmy,
legal?
every time.
As a second baseman, keep going to the pitcher.
Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. I'm gonna get him this time.
Yeah.
I got it.
We're gonna pretend. I'm gonna pretend like I'm talking to you. I'm just gonna walk back.
Yeah. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
All right, we're gonna play real quick.
As if no one saw him practicing it. Like,
here's Jayson Tatum on the final shot.
Now I don't really know what to expect from Jay King. I mean, I know.
We're not gonna do that. Here actually is Jayson Tatum.
Specifically, if you could walk me through that final shot on KCP, sort of what were you looking for when you got the ball, and then what did you think of the look when you got it?
Yeah, I think I kind of rushed it, and that's on me. In the back of my mind, I wasn't sure if they were going to foul. They had a foul to give. But, I had more time than I gave myself. So, I should have took some more time. But, can't go back. So, something that I can learn from.
Okay.
There it is.
Facts.
Something I can learn from. Something I can learn from.
Well,
again.
How long is it going to take?
Another lesson, Sherrod. Another lesson.
Yeah. Hey, he's not taking the Joe approach. At least saying, "Oh, I thought it was a great shot. Thought we had great looks tonight." That's what Joe said, right, guys? You guys.
He also mentioned Gary and layups again for like the team time.
First off, do you guys realize? Do you not realize the refs are deliberately screwing the Celtics?
Well, I'm not gonna.
I hadn't realized it, but now that you mention it, I can get on board.
We should talk about that.
Hey, what did Perk say? What did Perk say about Joe?
Oh,
you guys are at home.
Told us. No, he said. I'll read it. Ahmed sent it earlier. He said Perkins on Missoula after the Celtics' first home loss of the season. If you take his brain and put it in a bird, the bird is going to start flying back.
That was a while ago. I remember that.
Must have just happened today, too, because Ahmed sent it.
He used the same line again? He said that before.
It
would walk backwards, right? Something like that?
He must have got a couple chuckles the first time, so he reused it. I'm guilty of the same thing. But there you go.
I'm for the second time. I'm still not quite sure what it means, but
I think it means
this game wasn't really a case of
he thinks backwards or something.
And Tatum said this tonight is true. Every loss is going to feel like the end of the world with this team. I just don't think this is one of them. Like Charlotte early in the year, that felt that way. I hated the Orlando loss. The Indiana one in the tournament was a little frustrating. But this, like if they hit that shot and went on to win in overtime, like the Nuggets would be extremely frustrated too, I'm sure. This was a physical game. There were probably calls on both sides that both teams didn't like, especially early, right? There were some foul calls on the Nuggets that had guys going crazy in that first quarter if you go back and watch. So I think it went both ways, probably relatively evened out. And even though, like, what concerns us, John, I think despite this amazing start, you look at these losses and you're like, oh, like are shades of the old Celtics popping back in? And that's the only reason. I know you guys all said, I think all four of you guys think they're going to win this year, right?
They'll get to the finals. This is the team I'm worried about. This is the one team I'm worried about.
Right. That's definitely a very, very valid point, Josue. But I also think it's like, do some of those shades of the old Celtics creep back in? And we haven't seen it often this year, but tonight you did see a little of that in the final 5 minutes. So that's something that concerns you. And as I said, I think the Nuggets are a little better than these Celtics just because of that Jokic effect. I mean, it's just like me and Josue were just sitting up there at level 9, like our heads were spinning at the stuff he was doing. It's a different game he's playing out there. It's just ridiculous. And Porzingis said it, like, it's true. He'll like lull you to sleep thinking he's just kind of standing there doing nothing, and then he'll make a quick move and boom, the ball's in the net. So, I mean, this is kind of always the case, John. I don't know how much you feel this way. Is it just going to come down to Tatum and Jokic and who's better night to night in a final
that's
series?
Assuming
because it's going to be hard for Tatum to match that.
I just think it's, again, I do think these are the two best teams in each respective conference, and I think that, like, if you're a betting man, yes, I would say that they're going to meet in the finals. Just like, I just don't see the point of doing any finals preview stuff and like worrying about how they're going to match up there. I think no matter where you go, I think just about this team in general, Bobby, you're going to point to every single thing or fans will about what might prevent them from winning the title this year. And that's going to include, the bench. It's going to include Missoula and a bunch of other little ancillary things, and I'm not saying the coach is a little thing, but
it's all going to come down to Tatum and Brown. They're either going to play at their alpha level, at the best of their game, and along with the other complementary pieces on this team, the level of basketball that this team's going to be able to achieve if those guys are doing that is better than everyone else, or they're going to kind of play that inconsistent, sometimes you've seen, in the late stages, late rounds of the playoffs in the last couple of years, and then it's going to be a grind again, and you're not going to know what's going to happen from night to night. It's always going to be those guys. It's always going to be those guys. They can win in the regular season with bad Tatum games, bad Brown games, right? Because they have enough talent, and they can even beat some good teams occasionally. They cannot win a 7-game series if Tatum and Brown are inconsistent or have bad series. They can't. And so that's the thing is, if that happens, they're doomed. And that's why I was saying earlier, I'm not going to freak out about Tatum now because judgment's coming one way or the other at the end of this year, the end of next year. They win the title, then people can stop saying, I don't think he's the guy and I don't know that he has it and all of that stuff. But until they do, you're going to have those question marks. The question marks for me are always going to be, are Tatum and Brown going to show up when it counts? And that's it. So, you see them in these games and you see some of these superstar matchups that they've lost this year. I think fans' heads kind of go in that direction. Like, well, he got outplayed by Edwards. He got outplayed here. In a 7-game series against these better teams late in the playoffs, those guys are stars or studs consistently and play at the highest level they've played this year, or they're not going to win. That's it.
Yeah, but don't you feel like it's going to be a little bit more, I don't know, team-oriented, if you will? Like, especially down the stretch. Like, but
they can sneak out a first-round matchup, maybe whatever. When you're playing the best teams, conference finals and finals, those guys show up and they give you their best. Doesn't mean they hit. They're going to have nights where they're not falling. But if you just have those, like, what is wrong with this guy tonight games, every other game, they're not going to win.
Yeah, and then the series go longer. Injuries might creep in. It's exactly what happened last year.
Yeah,
it's exactly what happened.
It's always going to come down to those guys. We can point to all of the little things. Jimmy's always said this from the get-go. You can start paying attention. Now I said your name.
Max, my dog.
Max, my dog. Like, oh, shoot. Wait, hold on.
Shoot.
This is not a drill.
Teacher just called on me.
Someone just said Jimmy. That was hilarious. Spot on.
Say something
but
smart.
Jimmy's always said this. It's like, Celtics fans, it's like Tatum and Brown are their children, and you're going to find every excuse for why not them, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, John. Why is it?
It's like with the kids. It's the teacher. It's the coach. It's the other kids on the playground who won't. If the teammates won't pass to them, it's the wrong soccer club. I got to change clubs. All of that garbage. It's everybody's fault, and that's what it is here. But it's not. It's always going to come down to those guys.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then, John. Is Porzingis one of those guys?
But Porzingis on this team. He doesn't get the ball enough to.
That's
be
what
that
I mean.
guy.
Like maybe
He's
that's an issue. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if tonight's one of those examples where you're like, how do you not get Porzingis the ball and all that? Maybe the Jokic thing or whatever. Tatum and Brown, they did their best in trying to counter that matchup. But in other instances, I mean, I just feel like it's rare down the stretch in a close game that you'll see Porzingis make a play or something will be designed for Porzingis to attack. So, maybe that's something that should happen more often. But then again, how many times this season have we seen the Celtics in these situations? It's one of those either they're up big or, they pull it off at the end. But most of the time, they usually have a nice cushion going into the last couple of minutes in games that result to convert into wins.
Mm-hmm.
They were coming from behind in this one, which
Jay's gonna Jay.
It's a little bit of a different situation, but obviously they were up 12 early in this game, so you're going to squander those leads sometimes. But they did have the cushion. They did play better for the longer stretches in this game, I felt like, and you're at that 20-0 record at home, so it's tough in a lot of senses to give this one up. But on that point,
Romo didn't get the Super Bowl
in terms of the team.
Jason Romo.
Yeah, I know, Jen. That's what I'm cringing about. Ooh,
that's
rude,
right?
Ooh.
All right, closing thoughts, guys. We're gonna wrap it.
Jayson Tatum is not Tony Romo.
Say no to Jason Romo. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Jason Prescott. Dak is the new Romo. Hate to say it.
Oh, and I
On to
hate
the
to
next.
say it,
On to
Jimmy.
the next, man. We got a back-to-back in Texas. The second half of that back-to-back, I'm assuming Luka's probably gonna be back for that one. So, on to the next.
Grant
Celtics have
revenge
to
game.
carry into that. You know, like they've done this year a lot when coming off of losses. You know, chip on your shoulder into Houston and just forget everything that happened tonight. We'll see what happens, but I'm not too concerned, honestly. I'm more again, I'm thinking about that Dallas Mavericks matchup for sure. I think that'll be fun.
They're gonna take it out on Ime again.
I'll go.
Ime's gonna make sure this will be way closer than it was here in Boston for sure. I'll tell you that much. That Rockets game.
I'll go after Josue just because I'm a little bit on the opposite side. Like, I don't really care what they do to the Rockets. I don't care.
Right.
I just don't care about those games.
I want to go next because I'm not going to listen to what everybody else says, and then I might repeat it.
Yeah.
Text my dog.
No. I want to go first. That way you can't accuse me of just repeating your stuff. So
Jimmy's having a rough show.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with Josue. I don't say on to the next because we've seen them go on to the next, and yeah, they might beat the Rockets by 30. Who effing cares? It's the freaking Rockets are a doormat team. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah, we won't learn
learn a damn thing. I care about the Nuggets. I care about the Bucks. I care about
Dallas. Is interesting.
Sure. I mean, my antennas will be up for that one. But my point is, I have a right to be annoyed after this one. I'm not panicking. I don't think I'm overreacting. This was a game at home against a team that you might see in the NBA Finals, and I think I think it would have been. It would have gone a lot further for them to figure out a way to close out in this one.
You only need 103 points to win.
Yeah, that's it.
Every night.
I mean, you've been scoring 140 like it's nothing.
And again,
so
as good as Denver played,
offense.
they struggled on the. They had guys struggling tonight offensively too. So I don't think
they had two guys.
They're necessarily their best either. So as good as this game was, I think both teams can play better, and I think we'll see that. And maybe. You got to give credit to their defenses as well. It was a high intensity game, but once again, lack of execution down the stretch for Boston. That's what I'm going to remember, and that's what I have a sour taste in my mouth at the end of this one.
Certainly.
Okay. All right, we've said it all. I think Houston.
We're done.
All around.
Everyone want a shot? Go ahead.
We're done. Just say no.
We've said it all.
Axe my dog. Done.
Yeah, we're done.
Just another example that Celtics going to have to do it as a team. And they tried too late in different ways, but where's the ball need to go? What are you running at in the final possession? You know, those are spots where, you know, you don't want. I think they just gave away too many plays in this game. And the
That's
Nuggets
a good point,
certainly did too
Bobby.
in different spots.
They
but
didn't value possessions. They gave away a lot of plays. If they don't.
There was one play,
it's not
John,
even close
like
late.
it sticks out in my mind. There was one play that sticks out in my mind where they just left Jokic wide open above the three-point line. White was standing in the paint. Porzingis was stuck behind a screen, and he just shot a practice shot. That's 3 points in a 2-point game. So, like, every little thing you do like that, you're not just going to sit here after a finals game, as Jimmy said, and be like, oh, man, tough one. On to the next one.
No, but you are going to say,
like,
we just didn't have it tonight. You know, like
we didn't make shots. Shots.
But they didn't. But
so it's the stuff that worries you. It reminds you of the past.
They didn't hit shots, Bobby, but they also didn't realize that the shots weren't falling and try to find other ways to score. They got to the line 12 times tonight, whatever it was. They just.
It's one of the biggest issues with this team. They can't get to the line,
and they chose not to. They chose the fadeaway. They chose the step backs. They chose to avoid.
They don't seem interested in figuring out how.
Mm-hmm.
They're more interested in the.
Do you ever hear Joe say we need more free throws?
I don't. Like I said, I just don't think he wants to tell you that. You know, like not you, like the media. I believe when he goes in and he's looking at tape, he's going to point out opportunities where they could have done something different, and maybe we shouldn't have settled here. I just think in those post-game press conferences, it's all going to be nothing to see here in defense of my team. The philosophy is sound. I don't feel like being questioned. No, we didn't take too many threes. I don't care about the other team's player. Everything is just swatted away, swatted away, swatted away.
You can't do that
It has
in the playoffs.
nothing, but it has nothing to do with what he actually thinks or feels. It's just weird defensive. Whatever you say, I'm going to say it didn't matter. That's all it is. That didn't matter. That didn't matter. I'm not interested in talking about that. Move on to the next thing. Players are fine. Nothing. When they play bad, we laugh about it. Move on. That's it. He says it after every game. So I put no stock in any Joe Mazzulla post. None. Zero in anything that he says. Sometimes he'll say thoughtful things, and that's good when he does. But all of the stuff that when we want him to be like, yeah, it sucked. We lost our aggression. We didn't take it that. He kind of half admitted it. We didn't get into him saying we could have gotten into Kristaps a couple times is a massive admission in his book, because normally he's not going to tell you they did anything wrong. But I think these post game things are totally worthless by Mazzulla. Worthless.
Total bunk, man.
Yeah, it's worthless. Intentionally, he just doesn't want to talk about it, so he just swats it away. It's kind of not quite Belichickian, but in the same vein. But he just wants to let you know that what you think is happening isn't actually happening. That's his number one thing.
Yeah,
and that's it.
He's way more actually than Belichick ever was. Belichick was just more like F you.
Yeah,
he's trying to kill narratives. I feel like Joe tries to kill narratives.
Joe's trying to kill every narrative. Belichick's just not giving you anything to talk about. Yeah, we'll look at the tape. We don't know. Just done. It's almost a no comment. Joe's telling you you're wrong and you don't know what you're talking about, and move on to the next thing.
If I covered the Pats, I wouldn't even go to Bill.
Most veteran reporters stopped going to Bill a long time ago, until late, where you're actually like, well, we're going to grill him a little bit now too. But when you actually wanted information, that people would just not bother. Time.
And that's
veteran reporters stop going into Pat's locker rooms too. There's there's nothing to be gained from it.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Anyway, all right,
for
guys.
Me, Josue. Celtics all access.
John, you want to do a Red Sox minute? These guys can go.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
Do it on your own time.
I did, but I don't have it in me.
All right, well,
I'm not going there. They don't
deserve it. He was devastated.
I don't have it in me because it'll go on and on. It'll go too long. I don't.
All right, what about this? What about give me your big football game presented by FanDuel? What's the game that who's your team tomorrow? What's the one you're betting?
I don't even know who's playing.
All right, I'm taking Bucks plus 6.5. That's my Jimmy Toscano stamp it bet against the Lions. I know everyone's darling is the Lions. That's why I'm going with the bad boy Bucks. Nobody thinks the Bucks have a chance, but Baker Mayfield's out there to prove that he should not be counted out. So I'm
taking. I'll go Chiefs money line.
Chiefs money line. That is okay.
Bills are favored, but Chiefs are going to win that game
on the road. Chiefs really. Bills are kind of playing well though.
Chiefs are going to win that game.
Okay.
But I also don't know anything. So.
I don't either, by the way. Don't follow what I say, but I am going Bucks 6.5.
If you follow my advice, you're an idiot. But that's what I think.
I am.
If you say anything with enough confidence, people will be like, "Whoa, geez!" But then I don't want anyone to get mad at me, so I want a disclaimer.
No, this is purely for entertainment purposes.
I haven't thought about it more than the 3 seconds before it came out of my mouth. So.
Yeah, I don't trust the Chiefs. I would actually go Bills. I don't trust the Bills either. I probably just watch that game and enjoy it. But
facts.
Everyone wants to see. This is what everyone wants to see. So give the people what they want. You want a Lions Bills Super Bowl for the tortured fans of the world to have something to
something to live for that day.
You know that would end in a tie, though. It would end in a tie. They'll find a way.
It really would. That's true.
Yeah. It totally would.
It's going to be tough to beat the Niners. I think they're the team that's going to.
All right. Watch some football. Join us late. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock start on Sunday night, and we'll bring you some Celtics postgame. We'll see you guys.